So there's been a lot of questions about the RF interference on LED lighting based on a marine safety alert that the Coast Guard recently sent out. So I want to take a moment to take you through the testing process that the Coast Guard suggest in the memo, but also extend that testing a little bit and using the OGM LX series light. And I'll do a similar test with the new Q series lights in another video, but just to get started with the LX series that's been out since 2004. The light was actually tested for EMI interference back in 2010, and I get very, very few folks who have any issues with it, and the majority of them have a very quiet system. So I kind of want to go through that testing process and then also talk a little bit more about what other things that you could do to ensure that you have a quiet light. So basically, based on the memo from the Coast Guard, you take your radio and turn it to channel 13. And then squelch, just above squelch. So just when the audio noise goes quiet is where you would want to have it. You'll have an antenna, very similar to many other antennas that are on top of a mast. And of course, your LED light's going to be anywhere from mid antenna down to the base of the antenna, depending on how much room you have up there. So it needs to be quiet on two fronts. One is the radiated EMI, which means that it's actually coming from the module itself, or conductive, meaning that it's actually traveling down the wire as well. Both of those are going to be considerations. So the thing that we can ensure that we do have is a good quiet light, and then making sure the connection from that light is also quiet. And there are a number of different things that you can do as a manufacturer, but then also if you do have a light that has some issues, there are a few things that you can do there as well. So to get started on the testing of this particular light, as you can see, it's quiet, so we'll end up turning this light on. Bear with me here. Here we go. Here we go. So the quiet light is not going to give you any noise, whether it is midway, should be close to half an inch, should still be fine. You should be able to rotate the light, you should still be fine. You should be able to move the antenna to any side of this and you should be fine. It should be quiet along the base. The noisiest part potential is going to be mid range for the antenna, so that's where you want to start. If for whatever reason you do have some, you could potentially move that antenna up and down and have some noise changing on that as well. But so looks to be extremely quiet from this perspective. So now let's take a look at the weather channel. Now we're going to turn that off.
72 degrees at 15 miles east of Fenwick Island, gusting to 12. And the water temperature was 73 degrees.
Turn it back on.
Here is a look at the weather features that will affect the region over the next several days. High pressure will shift offshore today at an approaching cold front. The front will cross into the region from the northwest tonight, push southward on Saturday, and stall near the region through Monday. This will be cool, with weather to be area Sunday and Monday.
Now, an interesting thing to note.
Now for the official National Weather Service forecast for the Baltimore metro area and the surrounding KAC listening area. Today, mostly cloudy. A slight chance of showers this morning. Highs in the upper 70s. South winds 5 to 10 miles an hour with gusts up to 20 miles an hour. Chance of rain 20%. Tonight, mostly cloudy. Scattered showers with isolated thunderstorms after midnight. Lows in the upper 60s. South winds around 10 miles an hour with gusts up to
You can see
southwest after midnight. Chance of rain 50%.
that the OGM is quiet.
Partly sunny.
It's been around for quite some time. We did have some issues in the early days.
Saturday night, mostly cloudy.
But since we had it tested, we made some modifications back in 2008. We had it tested in 2009, have not had any issues. I may get a handful over a course of a year. But again, very, very few. And you know, there are thousands of these that have been out there since 2004. So again, testing it on channel 13 as per the Coast Guard, but then also testing it on the weather radio would be a good safety test as well. One of the reasons I turned off the overhead lights in the office is because they are also LED and they actually do emit RF, and I noticed that when I was doing some of the testing. As soon as I turned them off, it was much quieter. So again, not all LEDs are the same. It's good to go through the test. If you do have RF issues, whether either a navigation light or a search light or interior lights and so forth, obviously, you know, talk to the manufacturer first. There are also some things that you can do on your side, from RF beads, ferrite beads, chokes. You can do shield absorbers, copper shielding. You know, there's a number of different things that you can do. Check the wiring, make sure it's a reputable LED company that you're purchasing from, and that would be it. So obviously you're going to have a good functioning working light and a good functioning working radio. They should never be mutually exclusive. So in order to have that safety as a boater, you know, you need to make sure that that you do have both in good working order. But also check the connections on the wiring to make sure that you have a good solid wire as well, because a rat's nest of wiring down at the nav station can actually give you RF interference. If you have you know, low quality wire, that could actually give you some RF interference introduced. So there's the light module that needs to be a good quality light module that you can do you know, RF suppressors within the light itself, good quality wiring, good quality connection to your battery bank, and that's all I can say. So if you have any questions, give us a call. Orca Green Marine. I'm a one-woman company these days, so if you have trouble getting in touch with me, by all means, just leave me a voicemail or an email, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.